You've got her number, you've got her attention, or so you think. You send a text, something polite, something nice, and then silence. Hours pass, days even. You check your phone like it owes you answers. And here's the dangerous part. Every minute that ticks by is quietly lowering your value in her eyes. Because in her world, attention flows to whoever can make her feel. And if your words don't spark something, she moves on. Today, I'm going to reveal the 3 conversation shifts that make her check her phone hoping it's you. And trust me, most men never figure them out. Here's the truth. Every unanswered text chips away at how she sees you. And the longer it happens, the harder it is to come back from. That's why right now is the moment to fix it. Before we dig in, hit subscribe, tap like, and tell me in the comments if you've ever been ghosted mid-conversation. Say it now. Your story could be the warning another man needs, because what I'm about to reveal isn't comfortable to hear. But once you hear it, you'll never play the texting game the same way again. Silence. You know that sinking feeling when you send her a text and then nothing. Not for minutes, not for hours, sometimes for days. And when she finally responds, it's a single dry word. Cool. Okay. Or the worst of them all, absolute silence. I've seen men react to this 1,000 times. You start pacing in your mind. Maybe you overthink every word you wrote. Maybe you convince yourself she's just busy. And if you send another message, you can save the conversation. So you type more. You send faster. You try harder. And that is exactly when you lose her for good. Let me break this to you in a way most men never hear. Silence isn't always because she's busy. More often than not, it's because your message didn't spark anything inside her. It didn't pull her in. It didn't make her feel something worth stopping her world for. I'm telling you this as a woman who's been on the receiving end of hundreds of messages. The majority of men send safe texts, polite, predictable, painfully forgettable. You're trying to be nice, trying to be a gentleman, and ironically, that's why you get ignored. Here's the brutal truth. Safe texts are invisible. They dissolve into the background noise of her life. She doesn't skip replying because she hates you. She skips it because you haven't given her a reason to care. Most men think their value comes from effort. If I just show I'm interested enough, she'll see I'm serious. Number. Effort without emotional impact is just background static. You might as well be telling her the weather. Think about it from her side. Every day her phone is hit with dozens of notifications. Friends, family, social media, random strangers. To get her attention, you have to break her pattern. And breaking her pattern isn't about sending more, it's about sending different. The hard part? Different means risk. It means not hiding behind, how's your day? Or, hope you had a nice weekend. Those are comfort zone messages. You send them to protect yourself from rejection, but in doing so, you guarantee indifference. And here's the wake-up call. If you don't change the way you show up in her inbox, you'll stay stuck in the forgettable category forever. You'll keep getting ghosted, not because you're not good enough, but because you're playing a game where you never stand out. I know that stings to hear, but I'd rather hurt you with the truth now than let you waste years sending invisible messages. From this moment forward, I want you to stop thinking like a man who's trying to get a reply and start thinking like a man who deserves one. That shift begins with one question. Does this text create an emotional hook, or is it just another line in the static? If it's static, delete it, rewrite it, make it count, because if you're not triggering something in her, curiosity, excitement, even a flash of surprise, then you're giving her no reason to keep you in her world. And in a world where attention is currency, that's how you go broke fast. Create curiosity. So let's get into the very first secret women can't resist. This is where you stop being forgettable. It's all about creating curiosity. See, most men text like they're filling out a daily report. How was your day? What are you doing? Hope your weekend's going well. Safe, predictable, and instantly forgettable. Messages like these don't make her stop what she's doing. They don't spark a reaction. They don't interrupt her thought pattern. And if your texts don't disrupt the noise of her day, they get buried under everything else demanding her attention. The human brain is wired to seek resolution when it encounters an unanswered question or an incomplete story. Psychologists call it an open loop. It's why you stay up until 3 a.m. watching just one more episode. It's why a cliffhanger keeps you hooked even when you plan to walk away. When your text creates that same open loop, she feels a pull. It's not just emotional, it's chemical. Dopamine gets released, her curiosity kicks in, and she wants to know more. But most men ruin this before it starts. They hand over every detail right away, thinking it makes them more honest or appealing. In reality, they've killed the suspense before it had the chance to breathe. Instead of saying, "I had the weirdest day," try, "Something happened today that made me think of you in the strangest way." Then stop. Leave her with the image, but no explanation. Let her mind work for it. Instead of texting, "I had a dream about you," try, "You did something last night I'm still trying to figure out in my dream." That single sentence forces her brain to chase the missing piece. From a woman's perspective, curiosity is addictive. A text that leaves space for imagination plants you in her head. She'll catch herself wondering about you when she's supposed to be focused on other things. She might even mention it to a friend, replaying the words in her mind because she still doesn't have the full story. And that's the point. You're not dumping information. You're inviting her into a narrative she wants to be part of. You're giving her an emotional itch she has to scratch. The secret is to leave the door cracked, not wide open. Too much information, and she walks right past without stopping. Just enough, and she's drawn to step inside on her own. Here's what many men overlook. The less you say, the more weight your words carry. A short, incomplete sentence with emotional energy behind it can be far more powerful than a paragraph of over-explaining. It signals restraint. It signals confidence. It shows you're not desperate to impress. You're simply offering something worth her attention. So before you hit send, ask yourself, does this message make her lean forward? Does it spark a question she needs answered? Or does it spoon-feed her everything before she's even curious? If it's the latter, delete it. Rework it until it opens a loop in her mind. Because once her mind starts chasing you, her attention follows. And in today's world, attention is the most valuable currency you can earn. Share ownership. Picture this. You've just sent a text that isn't safe, isn't predictable. It's got that spark of intrigue. She reads, "Something reminded me of you today in the weirdest way." And that's it. You don't elaborate. You leave the silence hanging. A few minutes later, her reply comes in. "Oh, what happened?" Here's the move most men make. They answer immediately, giving her the full story. And just like that, the tension evaporates. Instead, you send back, "I could tell you, but first, have you ever had someone cross your mind right before something unusual happened?" Now you've shifted the frame. She's not just waiting for your answer. She's engaged in the process. She's thinking about her own experiences, trying to connect them to you. The conversation has stopped being about a single text and has started becoming an exchange of energy. She replies, "Yes, actually a few times." You lean in with, "That's exactly what happened to me, but I'll save the details for later." You'd laugh if you knew. This right here is the sweet spot. You've teased her curiosity, pulled her into the game, and you're still holding something back. The dopamine loop in her brain is wide open, and every message is feeding it without ever closing it too soon. The beauty of this approach is that it creates shared ownership of the conversation. You're not performing for her. You're building something together. Each message is an unfinished sentence she can't resist finishing in her head. From her perspective, this feels different from every other guy in her inbox. Most men are either flooding her with compliments or oversharing their life stories like she's their personal diary. You, on the other hand, are making space for her to step in, to invest, to contribute. And here's where connection starts to form. Not because you're revealing everything, but because you're revealing just enough for her to feel like she's part of something unfolding. The key is pacing. If you rush, the magic dies. If you withhold too long, she'll lose interest. It's about releasing information in small, deliberate doses, each one deepening the intrigue without exhausting it. Think of it like music. A great song doesn't hit you with the chorus in the first second. It builds, it swells, it teases. The space between the notes is what makes the melody unforgettable. In texting, the space between the notes is where she imagines, speculates, and starts filling in the blanks about you. And that's powerful because the version of you she creates in her mind is often even more compelling than the reality. But here's the warning. Curiosity is a flame. mishandle it, and it burns out. If you give in too early, you snuff it out. If you overplay it, she'll feel like you're toying with her. The balance is everything. When you get it right, something shifts. She's not just replying, she's leaning forward, checking her phone, wondering what you'll say next. And that's when curiosity stops being a trick and starts becoming a bridge to genuine connection, building powerful anticipation. But curiosity alone isn't enough to keep her hooked. That brings us to the second, more advanced secret, building powerful anticipation. Anticipation is the slow burn that makes her check her phone just to see if you've replied. Here's the psychology. It's built on waiting for something that feels worth it. When her mind projects into the future, wondering what's coming next, her brain releases dopamine, the same chemical that fires when she's about to open a gift, take a trip, or taste something she's been craving. The problem? Most guys ruin anticipation without realizing it. They rush. They spill the ending before she's even had time to imagine it. Picture this difference. You say, "I planned a fun date for us." Nice. Sure. Memorable? Number. She's already got the answer. There's nothing to look forward to. Now, compare that to, "There's something I've been saving for the right moment, and I think that moment's close." You didn't give her the details. You gave her a reason to stay curious. Now, every time she sees your name on her screen, that open loop expands. From her perspective, anticipation is intoxicating because it makes her feel without you even being in the room. Her mind runs through possibilities, building an experience around something you haven't even delivered yet, and the more her imagination gets involved, the deeper the emotional hook sinks. The trick is subtlety. Anticipation thrives on restraint, saying just enough to trigger her mind, but never enough to fully satisfy it right away. You're leading the dance, setting the rhythm, keeping her leaning forward. "Let's play it out," she says. "So what is it?" You reply, "I could tell you, but that would ruin the fun. Guess first." Now she's participating. She's thinking about you and the mystery you've created. That's not just conversation, it's mental engagement. Anticipation works best when you layer it with curiosity. First, you hook her with something incomplete. Then, instead of giving her the resolution, you drip feed her clues over time. It's like revealing a painting one corner at a time. She has to keep coming back to see the whole picture. This is where most men mess up. They think the way to make her like them is to give more. In reality, the more you hold back, the more valuable each reveal becomes. That's why luxury brands don't throw sales every week. They understand that delayed gratification makes the reward hit harder. From her point of view, a man who can create anticipation without seeming needy is rare. It signals control, confidence, and a life that moves at his pace, not hers. That's magnetic. But there's a fine line. Push too far and it starts to feel like a game. Drop hints without follow through and she'll lose faith in your words. You have to deliver eventually, but when you do, it should feel earned, not handed over. When you master this, she'll start associating your presence with that addictive mix of tension and excitement. You'll stop being just another conversation and start being the emotional high she can't get anywhere else. Because curiosity might open the door, but anticipation makes her want to stay inside. And if you can make her look forward to you, she's already halfway in your world before you've even stepped into hers. Giving compliments that touch her deeper values. And finally, the third secret. This is the one that separates you from 99% of other men, the one that truly makes you unforgettable. It's about giving compliments that touch her deeper values. Most men think compliments are the fastest way to a woman's heart. "You're gorgeous, you're beautiful, you're stunning." And sure, those words might earn you a polite smile, but they don't leave a mark. They're cheap currency, overused, mass-produced, and forgotten as quickly as they're given. Here's the truth. Most men don't realize beauty is the most obvious thing about her, which means you're not the first man to notice and you won't be the last. If your compliment only scratches the surface, it gets thrown into the same mental drawer as every other guy's. If you want to stand out, you have to see what others miss. That's where the real power lies. A compliment that touches her inner value does something physical. It changes her posture, softens her expression, slows her breathing, because suddenly she's not just being looked at, she's being seen. Think about it. She's been told she's beautiful 1,000 times. But how many times has someone said, You have this calm presence that makes people feel at ease without even trying. How many times has someone noticed that her laugh changes depending on how safe she feels? That's the hit she remembers. From a woman's perspective, the rarest thing isn't her appearance. It's her mindset, her way of showing up in the world, the energy she brings into a room. When you name that, you're not just giving her a compliment, you're showing her your depth. You're showing her that you notice the things most men overlook. And this is where connection deepens. Because when you reflect her inner qualities back to her, you're not trying to win her over, you're recognizing her. That recognition feels intimate. It builds trust without forcing it. Here's how you do it. Pay attention. Really pay attention. Listen for the small details. How she talks about her family. How she handles stress. How she treats strangers. Those are gold mines for compliments that matter. If she tells you about a project she's been working on for months, you don't say, "That's cool." You say, "I respect how committed you are." Most people would have quit halfway through, but you didn't. If she opens up about something painful from her past, you don't say, "Wow, that sucks." You say, "I admire how you've turned something that could have broken you into something that shaped you." Those kinds of compliments do more than flatter. They validate. They tell her that her values, her effort, her resilience are worth noticing. And here's the kicker. When you give a compliment like that, you're also revealing your standards. You're saying, "This is what I admire. This is what I value." And women notice that. A man who values depth signals that he himself is deep. Physical compliments are easy. Any man with eyes can give them. But when your words make her feel recognized for who she is, you stop being part of the background noise. You become the one voice she remembers. Because at the end of the day, beauty fades from memory. But the way someone made you feel seen, that stays. And if your messages can do that, you're already in a league most men don't even know exists. Weaving curiosity, compliments together. When you weave curiosity, anticipation, and deep compliments together, you stop texting and start creating an experience. This is where most men fail. They try one technique in isolation. Maybe they send a mysterious text once, but then go back to predictable updates. Or they give a deep compliment, but never follow it up with anything that keeps her engaged. The real magic happens when each principle flows into the next, creating a continuous emotional pull she can't get anywhere else. Let me paint the picture. You start with curiosity. You crossed my mind today in a way I didn't see coming. You don't explain. You let her lean forward, ask, and start investing mental energy in you. Once she's leaning in, you feed anticipation. "I could tell you, but I'd rather wait until the timing's perfect." You'll see why. Now she's not just curious, she's waiting. Every time her phone lights up, part of her hopes it's you delivering the payoff. And when the moment's right, you drop a compliment that cuts straight to her core. You have this way of making people feel understood, even when they can't put things into words. I noticed it the first time we talked. In her mind, this isn't just a conversation, it's a story. One she's living in. One where you're the central character. Here's why this works so well. Each principle feeds the next. Curiosity primes her attention. Anticipation keeps her invested. Deep compliments create the emotional anchor that makes the whole experience feel meaningful. Without the compliment, the curiosity and anticipation risk feeling like games. Without the curiosity, the compliment might feel random or unearned. And without anticipation, there's no build-up for the compliment to land with maximum impact. From her perspective, it's rare to encounter a man who can hold this kind of emotional rhythm. Most men either rush to reveal everything, killing the mystery, or they avoid vulnerability altogether, killing the connection. You're doing neither. You're leading her through a sequence of moments that feel organic but intentional. The pacing is everything. You're not machine gunning texts at her. You're letting each message breathe, giving her time to think about it, to replay it in her head, to imagine the next step. That's how you create presence without being physically present. And here's the unexpected side effect. Once she's experienced this, other conversations start to feel flat by comparison. You've set a new standard in her mind, not by force, but by how you made her feel. This is where attraction becomes stickiness. She's not just responding out of politeness, she's responding because you've tapped into the same emotional circuits that keep people hooked on great stories, unforgettable songs, and once-in-a-lifetime experiences. When you master this fusion, you're no longer in the category of the guy she texts sometimes. You become the guy she wonders about before falling asleep, the one she mentions to friends without realizing it, the one who lingers in her mind when she's supposed to be thinking about other things. And that's the ultimate goal. Not just to get replies, but to become unforgettable in the simplest way possible by making her feel. Because in the end, women don't remember the dozens of men who texted them, "How's your day?" They remember the man whose words made them stop, imagine, smile, and miss him before he even left the conversation. Texting was never about filling the silence. It was never about hitting send just to get a quick reply. The men who do that fade into the background. They become static in a world already drowning in noise. The real point is this: every message you send should have weight. It should shift the energy in the room, even if you're not standing in it. Whether it's sparking curiosity, building anticipation, or dropping a compliment that hits her core, your words should be felt, not just read. When you change the way you text, you change the way she experiences you. You go from being an option to being an experience, and experiences don't get ghosted. They don't get forgotten. But here's the warning: if you don't lead the emotional pace, someone else will. If you don't make her feel something worth remembering, her attention will wander. Not because you're not enough, but because you never showed up in a way that demanded her attention without begging for it. This isn't about texting harder. It's about texting smarter. It's about stepping into every interaction with the clarity of a man who knows who he is and what he brings. The kind of man who doesn't chase validation because his presence speaks before he even says a word. From this point on, that's your standard. No lazy updates, no fishing for replies. Every word you send should serve one of three purposes: make her curious, make her excited, or make her feel appreciated. And if it doesn't do any of those things, it doesn't get sent. Do this consistently and you'll notice the shift. Conversations will feel lighter but deeper. She'll start investing more without even realizing it. And you'll stop asking, "Why isn't she replying?" Because she'll be the one making sure she doesn't lose your attention. If you take nothing else from this, remember, women remember how you make them feel. And if your presence through a single text can make her stop, think, and miss you, you've already won. Now, here's what I want you to do. If what you've heard today hit you in the gut, don't let it sit there. Subscribe right now. Drop your story in the comments and tell me the moment you realized you've been texting wrong all along. And if you know a man who needs to hear this, send it to him today, because the clock's ticking. Every message you send from this point on is either building your value or erasing it. Make sure you choose the first.